Hi, welcome or welcome back. You're listening to First Gen Second Thoughts. I'm Arishma, your co-host.
I'm Raja, your other co-host.
And this is the podcast about two humans trying to heal who also happen to be married.
We're hoping to help build a community of other humans who can resonate with any part of us or our story. Everyone deserves to live a happy, healthy, and healed life.
And therapy can help with that.
And on today's topic, we are going to discuss going no contact.
Bum, 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 bum.
No contact of the fourth kind. Or the third kind. It's quite foreign, if you get my drift. The topic of... These are all alien movie references, and I'm not sorry at all. I'm actually very proud.
Alrighty then, let's get into it. Let's first kick off with our segment called Word to the Wise. Today's word / phrase is no contact. To define that, it is a boundary setting tool often used after a breakup or in toxic situations involving the intentional cessation of all communication, with a person to prioritize mental health, emotional healing, and personal growth.
And when we mean all communication, we mean all communication. Calls, texts, social media. I mean, you can text on the fridge now, apparently I heard. So
What?
every single type of device.
I would also like to clarify, this is my a personal note that I like to make. It's not a trend. And I say that in response to that one Oprah interview / podcasting that she did, and she called it a trend. And I was like, girl, no, it's not a trend that anyone actually actively wants to be a part of.
You hear that, Oprah? You too, Stedman.
I mean, to be fair, I've only seen clips of it, but I don't know if that's being discussed in the right way. Not trying to sit here and badmouth Oprah or defame her. Please, lawyers, don't come after us. There's no way we could win that battle. It's just, I'm just offering my perspective.
I will kick things off. Going no contact and then very low contact with two different family members. I'll start with my dad. See, I got the dad issues on my side. It was only a matter of time for me to see that. This is a little back in time when Arishma and I went to go hand deliver our wedding invitation to my dad. Culturally, it's nicer to hand someone your invitation versus mailing it to them. I sent some out. I knew I was going to hand deliver one to my dad because we were going to see him one weekend. And it just so happens that my uncle, his younger brother, got his invitation before my dad.
Like literally the same week.
Right. But my uncle being my uncle, I was just really excited and calling my dad and be like, how are we going to get there? What, just kind of talking about logistics. And my dad was like, oh,
offended.
I didn't get one. And has a nerve to call me and be like, you invite your uncle and not me? And I'm like, oh my God. I sent it through the mail, and I told you that we're going to come see you this weekend, or whatever weekend that was now. And I was like, I'll explain to you when I see you. Don't bother. It's fine. You don't want me there? Fine. No, Dad, that's not the case. I don't know why I remember the whole dialogue. Oh, I know, because I'm traumatized.
Well, sorry to interject, but maybe let's go back even a little bit further. Because we've normalized that, but it's also not technically normal to be inviting your own parent to your wedding.
Ooh, there it is.
We've built our brains around that, right? But if you're comfortable, do you want to share why we were inviting your dad in the first place? Like why he wasn't already an integrated part of the process?
Oh my God, yeah, because you've normalized all the nonsense for so long. Thank you for calling that out. That's a really good call out. Yeah, right? Why are you inviting your own dad to your wedding? $1 million question. Looks like I'm a millionaire because I have the answer.
Sorry.
It's because my dad told me that he doesn't want anything to do with it. And his main reasoning was that he doesn't have money to be helpful. And I'm like, I'm not asking. I'm calling you to tell you that I'm going to marry a woman, and I'm very excited about. And I was wondering if you want to be a part of the process, right? Like, what do we need to do to start this whole thing?
Yeah.
And my dad telling me like, oh, I can't be part of it because I don't have money. And I'm like, Dad, I don't want your money. I just want you. I want you to be able to help guide me through this whole process because I've never been married before, right? So
that's good to have confirmed. Thanks.
What was it, 10 years now? I'm glad we don't keep any secrets, honey. Which is, again, just heartbreaking to hear for myself because I'm like, well, how am I supposed to marry this woman now? And I'm like, well, it's just me marrying her. So I can still do this. But then also contacting my aunt, uncle, my mom's brother, and his wife, who are my guardians. Because they've been there for me since I was a kid, going from house to house. They were able to help provide a home for me and my sister at that time. And I love them to death, and that hasn't changed whatsoever. And I felt really embarrassed that I had to call them to ask them for another thing from me.
And that's such a different perspective I had on it because they were so excited and happy and honored that you wanted them that deeply involved. I'm interjecting here, but I will also say they are my mother and father-in-law. Like, and the funny thing is that they've never made me feel like a daughter-in-law. I've always just been an additional daughter, which I feel so lucky. So like,
I gotta clarify, the additional favorite or the favorite is you.
Oh, well, between us two, yes. I will happily say that, yes. And it's but it's like, it's the sweetest thing as someone like who, has and typically had strained relationships with their parents, to be married into a family where like my in-laws, all they do is like love and fawn over me and like can like be friends with them is really, it's special. So yeah, sorry.
It sure is.
That was my little 2 cents about them.
No, yeah, please. I would want 5 cents, if a nickel, if you got it.
Yeah, no, they truly are the most wonderful human beings who are so deserving of being parents. This makes me emotional. And not just parents, but in-laws and grandparents. Like, they really want to have all those titles, and I hope in every lifetime that we're bonded, because that's really special. And I remember the first time I met Mommy, actually, we were just dating. It was at your cousin's wedding.
Yeah.
And we walked into the house and no words are being said because she's across the room and we're at the doorway and she literally throws her arms up and she's just screaming and I'm screaming too. No words, just the entire time. And that was, I'll never forget that, because that is literally what our relationship is like till this day, where it's just excitement and love and like enthusiasm for one another. And they're truly lovely people, and I'm a very, very fortunate woman to have them. And I owe that to you. I do.
It all started with a squeal.
Legit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful people that have been able to support me throughout my life, and I'm forever grateful, especially being an adult now. It's different. The challenges as an adult are much different than when you're growing up as a kid, and I've been able to humanize them more. Yeah, and I'm super grateful for that. And I feel like they've been able to like be themselves more now that they have adult kids. Yeah. Which is really cool. So they step up like they've always done in my life. And again, forever grateful for it. Going back to the story of you and I, we go to Modesto. And, and mind you, my dad has called me saying that, he's upset because his little brother got the invite before he did and blah, blah, blah. And it just sounds so ridiculous now that I'm just like recapping all of it. Really? You're going to try to start something with me over that? Mm-hmm. Mind you, the date for the whole thing is months from that point. Only for us to show up, him be bitter and weird, but still trying to be like welcoming to you.
Yeah, I didn't know what I was going to walk into that day, to be honest.
I'm so sorry for putting you in that situation.
Not your fault, though.
But a tradition that I would do with my dad is go see him. We would go drive to visit the temple for a little bit, and then we'd go have lunch somewhere. I brought you along to not only just tag along, but experience this whole thing that I do with my dad. And we are driving in the car heading to the temple. And my dad, he's just rattling off about just nonsensical stuff. And me just like listening because I've normalized it for so long. So just being like, oh, my dad's just venting. My dad's just using his catchphrases. And one of them being, my life goes on with or without you, whether you want to invite me to your wedding or not. And I'm like, oh, dad's just being dad, rattling off. And then I see in the rearview mirror my soon-to-be wife's eyes just piercing me. And I'm like, oh my God, this is new for her, as I am clutching the steering wheel, white knuckling. And I just see her fuming in the back about, should I just drop kick this fool right now or not?
That was very hurtful to hear.
Yes. And I realized in that moment that I have brought this wonderful young lady into my dad's chaos. And I am not okay with this at all. And I can't continue this. I can't let her be caught in his tornado of just nonsense and chaos. And it was from that point where I realized that I need to limit my interaction with my dad even more than what I thought I was doing. I'll be very honest. It wasn't a hard decision, but it was challenging to implement and apply.
Okay.
Yeah, because I never had to do anything like that before. Normally, I just go MIA, whether it's not answering my phone or not reaching out to people or anything like that. But with my dad, it was different because it's my dad. My only living parent, so I have to be there for him and blah, blah. That was the whole logical side of me trying to piece it together about why he should still be in my life, even though he's a terrible person. And me realizing that I can't have you be part of his chaos, and I'm not going to do that. So limiting my contact with him. And again, just keeping him at a very basic level of the wedding where it's like, yeah, you're my dad, but you're just going to be a guest.
Yeah, I remember.
It was foreshadowing because it was putting him further away from me. It was me actively creating space. And it wasn't until the first Father's Day after we are officially married where I try to reach out to my dad and he doesn't pick up, whatever. And I call him 2-3 days after and he finally picks up. And I ask him, I was like, hey, why didn't you call me back on Father's Day? I'm going to call you and say Happy Father's Day. And my dad goes, and I swear to God, verbatim, word for word, I didn't want to talk to you. And I think that was my dad's way of let me hurt you before you try to hold me accountable for my actions as a father to you. And I think he knew like that would get under my skin and for me to either retaliate or try to, make sense with him or whatever. But after that, I was like, okay, I get it. You don't have to say anything else now, Dad. Like, I understand. I just wish you were more direct. And that was the last time that I spoke to my dad.
Yeah, and that's been nearly 8 years now, I want to say. In the time that you've been no contact with your dad, have you ever wondered like what his reaction would be if you were to reach out?
Me reach out?
Yeah.
And say what?
And just say hi.
No, it doesn't dawn on me to reach out to him, but I have ran the scenario through my head of him finding me and me meeting him outside wherever he is.
Yeah.
And being like, how can I help you?
Yeah. That's very generous of you, to be honest.
Right. But that's not open to like, oh, I will help you. It's just asking, what do you want from me now after all this time? And I know the questions of like, well, that's your only living parent, Raja. Why are you going to do that? People make mistakes. You should forgive him. But at the end of the day, was he contributing to my life? Or was he just adding chaos to it? Titles or not, why am I going to put my family through that? Why am I going to put myself through that?
That's the most important question.
Yeah, and I said no. And once I made that decision, and you've seen this firsthand of just how I propelled.
Yeah, you really flourished after that, I will say. Because
my dad was just an anchor trying to physically, mentally hold me down and my potential. And that sucks because I'm a dad now and that's the last thing I'm thinking about doing for our kids, even the dog. It's frustrating on so many levels because I know a lot of people can relate to it one way or another.
Sadly, yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's what we're trying to bring to light. Enough is enough with the chaos and the nonsense, especially as young adult children of immigrant parents. Because there is this mental hold of a leash-like kind of thing, and it sucks.
Yeah, well, also, like, you're biologically wired to want to love and nurture a relationship with your parent. And mind you, that's even if that person is not biologically your parent, but they're someone that has shown up and, like, given you love and has parented you as someone's child. You're biologically motivated to do that thing. It's wired in you innately. That's why I say I don't think no contact is a trend, because think about how much a parent has to go against the grain and destroy something that is biologically wired in their child to do, and for that child to choose opposite of that. Like, they're going against nature, literally.
Right, and this is where mental health plays its part. Right, and humanizing the person that's struggling with the situation. Also humanizing myself in that situation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Talk more about that.
Me realizing I'm worth more than what my dad views me as. And I'm worth more than how I currently view myself at that point in time. And one thing that helped humanize me and my perspective of it was, again, going to therapy and my therapist pointing out that my dad was just a dude before he became a dad. That's it.
Yeah.
That's really it. Your parents are just people at the end of the day, and they're still going to be people. Therefore, you really don't have any power over them. But yeah, humanize your parents. It'll help you.
Yeah, it'll help you heal. It does you good in the long run.
And on the flip side, I've been low contact with a family member who was quite overbearing in my life, which bled over into my family's life. And they refused to find the middle ground when it comes to just relationships. And I think why that was always overlooked was because we share of a very deep trauma bond.
Okay.
And they always saw me just as a young kid, because that's what I was when we were officially trauma bonded. And they were slightly older than me. I feel like they weren't able to understand that I am not a little kid anymore. I feel like they had a really hard time of seeing me as an adult, because I think a lot of growth had to happen for them, but I feel like there was a lot of distractions for them not to go through the work and do the work. And so for me to go low contact with this family member, it was hurtful, because it was just kind of like, why can't you just get it together? But as a younger family member, it's frustrating for me. So fast forward a year after that, and we are on somewhat of a better understanding level and more common ground.
Yeah.
Because that family member decided to actually put in the work and continues to put in the work. And we're still putting in the work together collectively. I'm not saying it's all perfect right now, but that ripple effect from that one decision also had a positive impact on my life, and then inadvertently their life as well, because they were able just to focus on themselves and or their family and watch that blossom and bloom into, what it needs to be. And so again, therapy on so many levels of understanding yourself, understanding other family members, understanding the people that you truly love and care about and that you want in your life.
Did you and this family member explore therapy together?
Yes. And for the record, a lot of therapists do not do family therapy specifically. The stars aligned, everything kind of aligned of finding this person that would take us and do the work with us. And therapy can feel like a battleground. Because I remember going into okay, they're going to come at me sideways. I got to come back with screwballs. The younger person of the situation has gone into it, meaning me, which is probably not the healthiest. But here we are. And I've learned from that too. And it doesn't need to be a battleground. Let me just say that. Just go into it open-hearted and hoping to get a better understanding of one another. That's what it's all about. It's not about who's right, who's wrong. It's about finding common ground and wanting to repair things and move forward in a healthier way and in a more respectful way.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
What a wonderful foundation to have to now rebuild the way that you all want to. And in the context of both of you being adults and having lives and families, it's really encouraging to see that for you all.
Tell me about your experience of going no contact.
Okay, so As I have mentioned before, previously on this podcast, I have been no contact with my parents. And I chose to do that probably like 7 or 8 days after I gave birth. Yes, that sounds insane, but that's how unbearable it was. Some context about why I made that decision. At that time, it was because I had reached my wit's end dealing with my mom and her self-centeredness and my dad and his enabling. I went into labor. There was no indication. It was very much on brand for our daughter. She decides when she's ready, and she will let you know. And so my water had broken with, like, I had no signs of, like, early labor or anything like that. I was pretty much full term, thankfully. So, I'm just a few weeks away from my due date. So yeah, we packed up our stuff and then called my parents and told them I'm going into labor. I'm most likely just going to be staying like at the hospital and delivering whenever she's ready to actually come out. And so, we were all really excited. My parents lived like 2.5 hours away from us, which is a whole nother ordeal because it didn't have to be like that. But, probably for the best right now.
Tell me more about your water breaking. People say it's not like the movies. But...
Oh my God, it totally was, okay? And here's the thing. We had my weekly OB appointment just a few days prior. And the midwife, and she did my check and she was like, your first time mom, like, you're most likely going to go past your due date. It's not like your water breaks and then you go to the hospital and you have the baby like they do in the movies. And mind you, that is literally what happened. My water broke at home on Cinco de Mayo around like 3:30 in the afternoon. I was nesting. I was like, cleaning up. I remember I felt something and then I stood up and I was like, oh, I think I'm just at the point in pregnancy where like I peed myself a little. I know that's common. And then it happened again and I was like, don't think that's what's happening. And water broke at 3:30 in the afternoon on Sunday. And our daughter was born at 7:42 a.m. the next day. Like, it was a very steady, calm, non-dramatic, non-traumatic labor and delivery for me physically. And I'm very grateful. So I told my parents I were heading to the hospital and they were on point to be here to take care of our dog Twixie, whom we love and adore. And that was a really big deal for me because she's technically like our firstborn, to be honest. And she's not just a pet, she's like truly family. And we're taking the exit to get to the hospital and my mom calls and she's like, okay, we're on the way to the hospital. And I was like, I appreciate that, but no. I didn't want anyone there at the hospital besides you and I. And you and I had decided, like, once I started pushing, then we'll let people know, like, that if they wanted to come, they could come.
Mm-hmm. Because it's about what makes you comfortable.
So if you are pregnant, thinking about getting pregnant, thinking about delivery, I am here to give you permission to be as selfish as you want, because it's not actually selfish. You are the top priority. What you want is, if you want people showing up in a certain dress code, so be it, girlfriend. Like, I'm here for all of it. And so I told my mom that, and of course she's pushing and pushing and pushing, and finally I was like, okay, hey, you know what? You can come to the hospital, we'll say hi, and then please, I really would want you to be at home with Twixie. They show up to the hospital with a change of clothes and everything. I'm like, what is going on? My mom is pretty adamant about staying. My dad wants to be there. And they're in the labor and delivery room. If you ask them afterwards, they're like, well, we didn't want to stay in the room. We were just happy with waiting outside. And it's like, okay, fine. A, but you were still in the room the entire time. B, I didn't even want anyone in the waiting room. But they weren't willing to drop it.
And I feel like that's a happy medium for people if they choose to be like, okay, I'm not going to be in the room, but just know that I'm close by. Right?
Yeah.
It's like your parents, so you're not stressed out.
No.
I'll be nearby.
Yeah.
Just give us a call. And you can wait wherever, right?
Yeah.
In the car,
Yeah.
in the waiting room, in the lobby, outside the door, whatever.
Yeah, and my dad got really pissed at one point, and he actually left without saying bye while I was laboring. My mom at like 3 a.m, I guess, had my dad just come pick her up, and she left without saying bye. And we found that out because you did text them and let them know, like, hey, Arishma was pushing, so you guys can, like, come and wait. And that's when my mom told us, like, oh, no, I had dad come and pick me up. Give birth. It goes beautifully. I was in literally a room full of women. Our daughter was born during shift change. So I had double the team. I had double the nurses, double the midwives. Oh, it was perfect. She came out happy, healthy. And it was wonderful. And so, you had sent a picture to our family group text, letting them know that Rita was here. We were ready to have visitors in a little bit. And I can't remember what my dad said, but it was something really dry. My mom made it a point to say, congratulations on your baby. And it was really passive-aggressive. And then we moved to the postpartum room, and we basically had to beg my parents to come. My dad doesn't want to look at me. He doesn't look at the baby. Did never ask me if I was okay, if I needed anything, never. Nothing, not till this day. It's been 2 years. And you and I had decided that there was life before our daughter was born, and there was life after. And whatever was before just did not matter. Like, why would it? Our daughter came out happy, healthy. I was happy and healthy. I was just recovering, which is to be expected. You were doing okay as well. We were all just sleep deprived, normal stuff. And so you hand my mom our daughter, and I ask her out of excitement, because I'm, like, my gosh, this is their first grandchild. This is our first child. Oh my gosh, you're a grandma now. Like, how does it feel? You're holding your first grandchild. And this woman goes, well, I have mixed feelings. Not a smile, nothing. Until this day, she argues that that's not what she meant. She didn't know what that meant. Even if that's actually how you felt, how could you not look at this brand new baby who's just hours old and feel anything but pure joy and gratitude and pride that your daughter did that? But no, my mom is very self-centered, and I will say that with my whole chest, because she keeps reminding me of that she is that self-centered, and even actually more so as of recently. This push and pull of attitude is happening for like a week. And I think it was on the 8th day or the 7th day after I gave birth. My mom, they were still somehow staying in our house, and she pulled me aside and said she wanted to talk to me, and I was like, okay. And she was like, hey, I think it's best if your dad and I leave, because I see that like you're just constantly irritated by us. And I was like, yeah, because you did something really messed up, and you're not correcting your behavior. Like, you're just still sulking in this house. And it's like, there's a brand new baby here. And yes, babies are born every day, but you have the privilege of being around a baby, a happy, healthy baby, and you cannot put anything aside and just be happy about it. So they left, and there were many texts exchanged back and forth. Arguments happened, all while I'm freshly postpartum. And my mom also had the audacity at one point to text me and say, if something happens to your dad, quote unquote, I will not excuse you, which in translation means I'm going to hold you accountable for your dad's death / well-being. And I am like, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks postpartum at this time. And I couldn't, I didn't see the point. And so I stopped talking to them for a while, because I was like, this is not serving them. It's not serving us. I have every right to really enjoy our daughter being a newborn. And then almost a year later, I would say like 9-10 months later, my mom and we engaged in family therapy. And I will admit, it did not go well. I think I was probably, for what it takes, let me say it this way, for what it takes to engage in family therapy with someone like my mom, I was not removed enough from my anger. I was still very angry, and I understand that under anger there's always hurt. I hadn't reached the place of just being hurt yet. And I say that because my mom is very inflammatory. And so we did like 4 or 5, maybe 6 sessions. It was the first time where I was able to share my feelings and have someone else there to tell my mom that she needs to listen, because otherwise she steamrolls and she interrupts. And I got to the point where we just blew up during session. We blew up after session, because my mom told my dad what we spoke about in session, which is fine. They're married. You do what you want. My dad texted me about it, saying that I was giving incorrect blame and I was like lying and all of these things. Basically, like, I didn't have an accurate account of like what had happened. And
so it was just family therapy with you and
your my dad was not a part of it. And that pissed me off, because yet again, here he is enabling and defending someone without having the whole story. And so I called my mom. I didn't even respond to my dad, because I was like, I'm not going to be that dumb. I just called my mom. And we got into it on the phone. And then after that, I had decided I'm not doing family therapy with her anymore. And even before I had the chance to communicate to her that I didn't want to do family therapy anymore, she texted me and said that she doesn't want to either. However, we still did have a session on the books that, like, by that time it was too late to cancel, so I was like, I'm just gonna go solo and give the therapist courtesy of letting her know in person we are gonna take a break. And so in this solo session, I'm sharing this because it was just me. My mom was not involved. So I'm not divulging anything here.
How many sessions has it been for you and your mom until this last one with the solo?
I think we did like 5 or 6 sessions.
So like an honest effort. It wasn't just like one and done and be like, oh, we can't take this.
No,
you actively try.
Yeah. So I show up to the session and God bless this therapist, because she looked at me and she was like, Arishma, your mom already traumatized you when you were a child, and now your mom is re-traumatizing you after you've had a child. You need to stop trying. If you really want to break cycles, you have to just let her be for a while. Who knows how long that's going to be? A couple weeks, days, months, years, whatever. She does not get it. And she will not get it until she wants to get it. And we don't know how long that's going to take. But you deserve to be able to just enjoy your baby and, you know, really figure out who you are as a mom and the way you want to parent. And, like, you and your husband should have every right to just soak all this in because it goes so fast. And that's when I was like, oh, dang, like, I've been gaslit my entire life into thinking that this kind of chaos that my mom causes is normal. And so after that, we didn't talk for a very long time. They were not invited to our daughter's first birthday party. And also, unfortunately, right around that time, I think like a week or two before, is when my paternal grandma passed away. And so there was also no way that they were going to be able to come anyways. I did, after that, though, like after my grandma died, like, I did make a concerted effort with my dad to let him know, I really do want a relationship with you, but I know you're going through a lot right now after Aji passed away, and Aji means paternal grandma in Hindi. But hopefully, like, we don't let it come to what happened between you and Aji, because my dad also had a very strained relationship with my grandma. And so, as you can see, when I say I'm really trying to break cycles, like, it's not just to say, like, there are actual unhealthy cycles that have been happening on both sides of my families for generations. And I see it, I identify it, so I'm trying to do better and trying to do different. And he ignored me for quite some time. And now we're back at no contact, because just very recently, you and I, we made the effort to have a conversation with them. And at the end, and it went every which way. There was, like, understanding, there wasn't understanding, there was empathy, then there wasn't empathy. And this is, like, all just during the conversation. At the end of it, just so we were all on the same page, I flat out asked if they still wanted to work on moving forward. And my dad was like, yeah, we're all going to put in the same amount of effort. I'll text you and let you know, like, the next time we can set up a time to talk and whatnot. And my mom, yet again, here she is saying, well, if you guys want to, then I will. And I should have, in that moment, really realized, like, there is no point in being in any kind of contact with them right now. I will never say never, because that's something that I've learned from therapy. You never know which way your relationships pan out. And I accept that. But I have gone through decades of being ignored and mocked and berated, that when I say I tried it all, I really mean I tried it all before I decided to go no contact with my parents.
You're not quick to cut anything.
No, I'm absolutely not. Like, I always hold space, grace, and empathy for humans. We're all just mere mortals at the end of the day, and I don't take that lightly. However, the refusal, not even, oh, I didn't know, it's the actual refusal from my parents to take any kind of accountability is really frustrating. Like, they say sorry, but they honestly don't know what they're saying sorry for. And when they say it, they're mad. You can hear it in their voice and their tone and their body language that they're upset that they have to say sorry. And look, I understand they also come from a time where they couldn't question their parents and they couldn't force an apology out of them no matter what. Like, that was considered extremely disrespectful. And the thing is, that wasn't fair to them either. They deserve to have their experiences and their feelings validated by their parents, but that wasn't what was happening. And I think also having grown up as a first and American born, like what I see is very different than what they saw as kids and in their own lived experiences in their childhood. I can understand that. I can empathize, but how come they can't empathize with me? And it's like I even in that conversation we had with my parents a month ago or so now, I did this whole exercise where I explained to them, like, I understand that all of these factors from your childhood, and I named individual ones, specific ones. I get why you are the way that you are. But can you guys do that for me? My dad didn't say anything. My mom turned to the camera and said, well, I can't because I'm not you. And it's like, oh my God.
And had to pry and prompt to say, we have to use our imagination to understand what it was like for you, because clearly your daughter wasn't there when you were small, but she understands that you had little to no attention a lot of the time or a lot of the days and all the things.
Extreme poverty, like I named all of the specific factors. She didn't want, she claimed she couldn't, but there was an obvious refusal to do so. And here's the kicker. I wasn't there for her childhood, but I could very well imagine what it was like. She was responsible for my childhood. She was there and she still didn't want to.
Correct.
And it's like, what do you do with someone like that? Like, how do you make any progress? I don't think you do. I just don't. And I would also want to make it very clear, I never wanted it to be like this. Never. But at this point, it's not just about me. It's about the fact that we have a child who is their only grandchild. Even if she wasn't, there's grandchildren now in the picture. It's not about us. We're the adults. We're the elders. My parents are supposed to be the elders. And it's like, if you don't look at this completely innocent child and think to yourself, man, I gotta do better, I cannot trust you to be a safe adult for my child. I'm not doing this selfishly. And if you resent me for doing things that you wished you could have done when you had me, that is for you to resolve within yourself. I necessarily can't help with that. And that's what it's starting. I'm starting to put pieces together. A lot of it is resentment about what they felt like they didn't have the liberty to do. And my parents tried to perpetuate that same culture, that same dynamic with me. And I said, no. Is it painful? Yeah, absolutely. Who wants to pay this kind of price when they bring a child into the world? Because you want to trust and believe that the people that claim to love you would understand you. Now, at one point in the conversation, I had made it very clear to my parents, I don't need anything but your understanding. And you still won't give that to me. It costs you nothing. But they just don't want to. And it's like, how long am I supposed to struggle through this? And how long am I going to let them take resources like time and energy away from my own family that I've now created, when they make it very clear over and over and over again that they don't want to change?
They require big energy too, which is really unfair.
Yeah.
They've always required big energy from you, from us.
Yeah.
We were never a thought in their head. It was always like, this is what's happening, we need you guys to show up.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so the expectations, the pecking order, all those things. And so going back a little bit to how you said, how can you not just look at this child and think oh, I got to do better? For a narcissist person, it's like, how do I peck this one in order too?
And over my dead body, will you be doing that to my daughter? Nope, because I already know what that was like. I'm spending my adulthood trying to heal from the trauma you caused during my childhood, and you think I'm going to let you do that to my kid? No. Because then I'm being just as dumb. Because when you know better, you do better. I'm not sure if I like the fact that this is one of the ways that I've proved that. By cutting off my own parents. Because I truly wish I did not have to. But when you are crying out for help and you're telling the person or the people that have hurt you, hey, I love you, but you hurt me. Can we talk about it? And they bark at you like a dog. Instead of being like, let me hear out what this person has to say. And I also make it very clear, I want your grandchild to know you and you still bark like a dog at me. I'm not going to deal with this. And I will also share very transparently here. My mom called me last week just to pick a fight. I had left her alone after the conversation the four of us had because I knew better. Things were way too inflamed to even try to be in low contact. And I have now figured out that my mom just lied. She blamed me for things that I said and did because she, quote unquote, found out from a second party that I had said these things about her and that I'm blaming her and that I'm a liar, only for me to find out, to go to the source that she claimed said these things, because eventually she gave it up in the conversation, that other person didn't even say that stuff. It was my mom that brought that stuff up, but she is crazy enough to try and pin it on me. That sounds kind of confusing, I understand, but let me put it this way. My mom calls me and said, I heard that you said that the sky is red. 20 minutes later, so-and-so told me that you said the sky is red. I go to so-and-so and they tell me, no, I didn't say that you said the sky was red. Your mom is the one that said the sky is red. And what kind of conversation am I supposed to hold with a person like that?
That's a very good question.
What do I talk about with a person like that? Who is spending time and energy to make me look like a bad person or a crazy person or not a good influence? Let me just say that, like, to sum it up. And girlfriend, I am way too busy with all of these other things to be sitting here gossiping about what you said or what you didn't say. You are not that special. You do not take up that much mental real estate in my head, but apparently I live in your head rent-free. And so you try to figure out how to profit off of that societally. And it's like, it makes it even worse because that's my mom.
Yeah.
She was supposed to be the person that protected me. Instead, she's out here calling wolves to me, not even throwing me to the wolves. She's inviting the wolves. And it's like, what? For what? Because I'm speaking my truth now? And you're mad about it and telling me that I'm lying when I'm not the only person that has gone through experiences like this with you? That's no, like you don't get to do that. And it's yet again a reminder why, unfortunately, as hard and as sad as it is, no contact is the way that it has to be. I understand that there are people out there who question and judge me because, to add a little bit more context, my family that I come from was pretty well known in the community that I grew up in. And there was this false image portrayed that we were this happy, perfect family. And we just weren't. Because a happy, perfect family behind closed doors doesn't cuss each other out. The parents aren't fighting constantly. The mom isn't calling the daughter at 6 years old the B word. Like, that's not what a happy family does.
What?
Oh yeah, my mom called me the B word, but in Hindi. So it's technically the K word. She called me that in Hindi since I was very, very little. My first memory of it is probably when I was like 5 or 6 years old.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and then she finally stopped, I think, when I turned like 19 or 20, because I had to beg her to stop, and that came up in family therapy, and my mom will die on the hill that, like, well, it's multiple hills, actually. It depends on her mood. The first one was like, yeah, I called you that because that was my way of parenting you. The second one was, well, your nanny, meaning my mom's mom, called me that. So what's the big deal? The third one is, you took it the wrong way. Or I didn't know that it was such a bad thing to do. And it's like, none of those are true, especially the third one, because you didn't call me that when we're out in public. And you sure as hell were not calling anyone else that. So you knew full well that it was not a positive thing.
But you still did it.
Yeah.
I love how you just debunked it right now with, well, you didn't say that in public, so what made you say it in private?
Yeah. And you truly think that we were a happy family?
To her, yes, because everybody was doing exactly what she wanted.
And then she met her match with me when I grew up. Because also keep in mind, like, I was a child that was witnessing all of this, and she expected me to know better. I don't know how.
You're a kid.
Yeah.
How are we supposed to know better?
I mean, she is bold enough to accuse a 4 or 5-year-old of almost wrecking her marriage.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and that's a whole nother thing. Now that I'm an adult, infantilizes me, or used to when we were still in contact.
Meaning what?
She would treat, even though I was a capable adult, she would treat me as if I was a child. However, when I was a child, I was parentified/adultified, where it was like, why don't you know? Like, it's like asking a 5-year-old, like, how come you don't know how to drive? And it's like, what are you talking about? Mm-hmm. She manipulates that to her convenience, and I got tired of it because she also was trying to do that after I gave birth, and I was like, no. This is not what's happening. I made a very deliberate decision of becoming a parent. I want to be a present parent. I want to be an involved parent. My husband and I are the parents, and we're going to be the one making the decisions when it comes to our children. Not nobody else. If that's hard for you to deal with, well then, tough luck, buddy. Like, you know, get with it or get gone at this point. I did a lot of work to make sure that I could be prepared to a degree, to a healthy degree, to be a parent. You're never 100% prepared, right? And I accept that, but I did a lot of work in myself to make sure that I undid the patterns that were put in me so I could show up as a healthy parent. However, my mom did not think that anything that she did was unhealthy or wrong in raising me. And she chalks up to, well, I did the best I could with what I knew. And it's like, yeah, I understand that. However, at the same time, the best you did with what you could was, you know, there were harmful parts to it. Let's talk about it. And she doesn't want to. It's very extreme with her. And it's like, I can't have that around my kid, because if you claim that you didn't know it was wrong or hurtful or traumatizing of you to cuss me out constantly, what are you going to do with my kid? What are you going to do? And then be like, oh, well, I didn't know. No, if I can't trust you with me, there is no way that I'm going to trust you with my child until you show me that I can. I may play about a lot of things, but my children, not one of them. Not even our dog. Absolutely not. Like, you don't get to play in my face about that stuff. Just no way. And every chance that my parents have been handed to de-escalate and to find middle ground, they actually inflame, and there just isn't any point in it anymore, at least for a long while from what I can see. And they'll get it when they get it, but it's up to them to get it, and I'm not here to help them see it anymore. I've tried it. I've broken it down. I've been really patient. I've heard their piece, but they don't want to hear my piece, because even if they don't want to admit to it, they do have the mentality of like, well, we're the parents and we know best. And it's like, no, actually you don't. You need to approach parenting with humility. As much as I talk about having done the work to prepare myself to be a parent, I know that part of that work was me saying, like, me understanding and accepting, like, I don't know everything. I don't. Our daughter, and if we choose to have more children, they are unique individuals, and I cannot parent them the same way either. So I don't know what the heck is coming at me. like with our daughter, she will tell you when she's ready, and she's been that way literally since my water broke. Mm-hmm. Like, even when it came to her walking, she practiced the skill for months. She knew how to do it, but it wasn't until she was ready, when we were on vacation in Chicago with her boy and her cousins, that she was like, okay. She just decided. I mean, like, what if our other kid is the one that's like gonna keep trying? We don't know, and I have to pivot, and I have to adapt to that. And here's another thing they don't tell you about parenting. If you have multiple children, you have to parent all your children at the same time, and they're all different. So you really got to be quick on your feet. But my parents came with the attitude of, we know everything, even though we're having children in a place where we weren't even born. And not to hold that against them, but it's like, the facts are in front of you, and you are choosing to ignore key information that could actually empower you to parent better. And your child is also, I was this kind of kid where I would try to talk to them about stuff. My dad would listen.
Right.
I will always give him credit for that. He would listen, and he would, when it was just me and him one-on-one, solid parenting. Like, I got A-grade parenting from that man. So that's, I think, another reason why it's so disappointing, so hurtful that I have to be no contact with him too, because of how overpowering my mom is in this situation.
Yeah, let's talk about that a little more, about the immigrant parents and how it doesn't seem like they are truly aligned on when it comes to parenting. Because like you mentioned, if it was solo one-on-one with your dad, you felt like he listened and you were able to get gems from those conversations and those times and that experience. But as soon as your mom comes in the picture, does it seem like your dad is a completely different person?
All of us are.
Oh.
I'll even into that. I was a very different person when my mom was around versus when she wasn't.
Was it like walking on eggshells?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. A tidbit, like, to give context to that, like, when we would ask my dad, hey, what do you want to do for your birthday? What was his response?
Oh, he would always be like, whatever my wife wants to do.
Dad, it's your birthday.
Yeah, but what does my honey want to do?
Okay, Dad, what do you want to do for Father's Day?
Whatever my wife wants to do. That was sickening.
Yeah, constantly. And I remember there was this one time where I got really brave, I would say, and we gave my dad a birthday gift. And the birthday gift was tickets to the final Battle of the Bay.
Yay, yay.
Yeah, and we still lived in the city at that time, so, you know, it was a lot of fun for us.
It was the 49ers versus the Raiders. It was the battle for last place. I just want to make that clear.
It was not a good season, okay, but like...
But we whooped they butts, I tell you. It was like 43-3.
It was a blowout, yeah.
Yes.
And I remember, and that was a deliberate play by me because I was trying to show my dad, like, hey, you do deserve to have these experiences all on your own. There's nothing wrong with that. I remember he opened up the card, he saw the ticket, and he said, thank you. And then his first question was, well, what about Mom? And I was like, she doesn't care for football.
And we're not wasting a ticket on somebody who doesn't want to be there.
And yes, and also, mind you, these tickets, because it was the last Battle of the Bay, it was pricey, okay? It wasn't cheap, and also, like, I just wanted to have that experience. Wanted you and I specifically to just have that experience with my dad. He had a great time. Mm-hmm. He still talks about it till this day. Like, I just recently learned from a cousin of mine, like, he had shared it because he had taken them to San Francisco. And he talked about that game that we had gone to together. And it's like, see, it was great. Like, we had a really good time together. But it's like, he was still so worried for a while. Like, I think literally up until the day of the game, like, what's Mom gonna do? It's like, she's a grown woman. She can handle herself. She literally flies across the world on her own. You think she can't spend one night at home?
Yeah.
And that's it also an example of enmeshment, which I will define actually.
Heavy enmeshment.
So, enmeshment is a psychological term describing relationships with blurred boundaries where individuals, often family or couples, are excessively involved in each other's lives to the detriment of their autonomy. That is, like, literally my dad's behavior of, like, oh, well, honey, what do you want to do for my birthday? Like, that is Exhibit A.
I feel like a lot of boomer immigrant parents see that as their version of active love because it's like, I'm still thinking about you, but I do that because I don't want you to get upset with me.
Yes.
See, so what is the underlying motive behind all that? Is it really being sweet and lovable and caring?
Yeah.
If you're at the end of the day, if you're fearful of what your spouse is going to say or do or react, I don't know. Let's think about that. Let's see what that is. Yeah. And then when you try to call it out in real time, again, we bring these things out to talk about accountability, to talk about fairness, to talk about a healthy way to have a relationship with one another. It is not, again, it's not to attack each other. It's not to fight with one another. It's to get a better understanding and a fair understanding across the board. Yes, there's that dynamic between parent-child.
Yeah.
And that's always going to be that, regardless of how old you get and how old they get. That's always going to be a thing. But as your kid gets older, you're supposed to evolve your parenting as well. What applies to our daughter now as a toddler may not apply to her when she's in high school.
No.
Right?
Yeah.
It's just one of those things.
Yeah.
And I am specifically speaking about the emotional evolution of the parent and child relationships and how happens.
Yeah.
Right? And I feel for a lot of immigrant parents, it's very much so, we're the parents, we know best, and so we're not going to change our ways because it worked. But who did it work for? Are you taking survey of all your children that it quote unquote worked for? No. You're not even willing to talk to them. No. You're not even willing to hear them out. And they still go above and beyond and doing all the achievements of whatever it might be. Because I know the firstborn gen adult kids that are listening right now, I know y'all worked your butts off. I know y'all had to persevere. I know y'all made that success. But that goalpost was constantly being moved. And that was not fair to you. It was never fair to you. And all I'm saying is make it fair to yourself. You don't need the validation from an external person or outside yourself. That has to come from inside. And I really wish an adult would have told me that when I was smaller.
True. However, I will say you know what validation feels like because someone in your childhood is supposed to validate you and is supposed to introduce the concept of confidence, and they're supposed to create that space for you to know what that feels like. And we didn't receive that. A lot of us didn't. I think there are some unicorn immigrant parents that like figured that out. Like I will share, like I have a cousin. I remember this was like one of the very few sleepovers I got to do when I was a kid, and her mom had signed her up for modeling classes, and I was like, oh whoa, like that's cool. And I remember we went, I was watching her like do the walk and stuff, and they were teaching them techniques, and her mom was like, yeah, I signed her up for these classes because she needs to learn what it feels like to be confident, especially, and like my cousin is 2 years older than me, so she was a teenager, I was a preteen, and she's like, especially in this like developmental place. Now that I think about it years later, I think her mom forced that sleepover to happen because she knew what my mom's like.
Wow.
Yeah. Now that I think about it. Because my mom fought real hard to not let me go. She even talked about like, well, I'll just come pick you up at the end of the night, like even if it's midnight. And I remember Auntie was like, no, like let her sleep here. It's fine. Like we want to.
And you got along with that aunt. There were no weird vibes, nothing. You got along with that cousin, so it's wow.
I really admire what my aunt did for my cousin, and it's hard when you have to create that space for yourself, and a lot of us do, and maybe subconsciously that's another reason why I have no contact with my parents. It's because every time I tried to share something that made me confident, I was mocked for it. Specifically by my mom. So, yeah. And also, I think actually, like, switching gears a little bit, I don't think no contact is a trend. I just think as society and, like, in our generation, we have reached the limit of giving unhealthy amounts of grace to people. I am big on grace, space, and empathy, but there's a limit to that, too, because grace is applied when someone genuinely just doesn't know. But when you're making deliberate choices, my grace tank for you runs out. It's such a crappy club to be a part of. Like, no one wants to be here, but we know we have to do what we have to do in order to protect ourselves. And it's sad when, for me, in this case, like, I have to protect myself from my parents. And they don't get that. They're very offended by that. And I would love to let them know if they would just listen. That I just need to be heard. That's it.
Yeah, and it doesn't sound like you're asking for the moon. You're asking for empathy. You're asking for...
Well, here's the thing. To my parents, because they have known me a very specific way, which is to be very low needs. And that wasn't by choice. That was by having to survive in the household that I was in growing up.
What does that mean, low needs?
Like, I didn't ask for things. Like, I made myself as small as I could because they would share with me whatever struggles they were having, whether it was like in relationships with other people, in their marriage, financially, what have you. So it was like, for me as a kid, I know that they're having all these issues, so I'm not going to cause any. I'm not going to add to their plate. So they know me to just keep my mouth shut, and the fact that now I am using my voice because I have found it and I'm trying to express and advocate for myself, it's threatening to them because they're like, who the hell is this? And it's like, no, this was always me, but you took away the space that I should have had as a kid to be able to share these things with you.
And now you're creating your own space.
Yeah.
To have that, and you're showing them that. And they actively choose to not to want to understand that.
Yeah. I think they're scared of it, and it's like there's honestly nothing to be scared of if you would just listen with an open mind. Mm-hmm. Oh, that was another thing. My mom was walking around telling people and telling me like that she was scared of me. And it's like, says the woman who would physically beat me until I was bruised.
Yeah.
Sure.
Because you've grown up now.
Yeah. And, you know, they say as a woman, if you choose to have kids, right? Like they say that your daughter is your karma. And it's like, you have to face, I guess I'm the music that you must face. Yeah, because I look at our daughter, and yeah, she absolutely is my karma, but guess what? So far, it's been really good karma, because she brings nothing but joy. Like, yes, she's a toddler. Yes, she throws tantrums. Yes, she's very self-assured. And she is very vocal, but it's like, oh my gosh, like, yes, like, I didn't have to foster that in her. She is that way. And I get to nurture that now, appropriately so. That right. Part, of course, is very important, because we still want her to be a very kind, thoughtful human being. I mean, like, how wonderful is it? And, you know, I look at her, and it really makes me realize, like, I was never that hard to love. I was never that hard to listen to. I was never that difficult. I was never not worth it. So my parents, or a parent, had to choose to label me all of those things because there was something lacking in them as a person and a parent. It was never about me. Because I was just a kid, just existing. Yeah.
Very well said. Well, Karma, do you have any second thoughts?
No contact is really scary. And it's really painful. And it's the absolute last resort. But on second thought, I have no regrets about preserving my peace. After going no contact. If that's how I should do, then so be it. How about you, hon?
My second thought is that the grown-ups always don't do the grown-up things. And echoing what you said about being scared to go no contact, don't be fearful of doing it if that is what you are going to do or want to do. And it's not about getting your way. It's finding a true common ground with the people who claim that they love you.
Amen.
Oh.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Well, thank you for listening. We understand that this may have been an activating episode.
Activation on.
Or, you know, just in general, it might have been a triggering episode for some of y'all to listen to, and we completely understand. But know that you are seen, you are heard, you are understood, and your decisions are valid, especially if they're motivated by you needing to protect yourself. Like, we get it. But on that note, we're going to close this out. We're on Instagram at First Gen Second Thoughts, and we'd also love to hear from you at firstgensecondthoughts@gmail.com. And please share any questions or even topics that you'd love to hear us talk about in future episodes. And with that being said, we're proud of you.
I'm proud of you and we love you. Take care.
See you next time.
Peace.